Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to day 7 of our 30 days of yoga challenge. Today we're doing a nice yin yoga practice. So I am going to be using a couple props today. I've got a strap and a bolster or a pillow. So feel free to grab those things and let's get started. All right, you guys, we are going to begin laying down. If you've got a strap of some kind, just move it off to the side. And if you do want to lay on top of a pillow or a cushion, you can definitely do that. And since this is our first yin yoga practice together, well, for some of you, I know some of you have been around for a little bit, but I'm going to talk you through it. So we're going to lay down to start. And the beauty of yin yoga is that we get to hang out in each pose for a little bit of time. And that's also the challenge of yin yoga. So while we don't move a whole lot, the challenge does come from just keeping the mind calm, keeping the body relaxed. If you are laying on something, a pillow of some kind, I want you to make sure that your head is rested either on the floor or on a pillow. Your hips, your glutes are also resting on the ground. You can keep your legs out long. If you want to get into your hips, I love to bring the soles of my feet together and my knees out wide in a nice diamond shape. And just know that if you are lifted up on something, it is a bit of a back bend. So at any time you might feel discomfort through your spine, through your low back, just come off of whatever you happen to be laying on. Lay nice and flat on your back. And then just going to reach your arms out to the sides, let those palms to face up. And let your eyes close. Let your shoulders soften. And just start to breathe. You can breathe a little deeper if you'd like, if it feels good. Or you could just notice your breath without changing it at all. Or just to begin to slow things down. I just have a couple other tips I'd like to share with you before we really dive into this practice today of yin yoga. It is so important to listen to your body. And because we do spend a little bit of time in each stretch, sometimes the body gets a little excited, a little tense, a little fidgety. And that just kind of gives you the opportunity to figure out if your body is telling you that you need to actually move, if you need to come out of a pose and take a break, or if you maybe can challenge yourself to stay there and relax and breathe through it. And just know that each day our bodies respond differently to each pose. What I might be doing, you might not be doing. I do my best to give a lot of options. And I don't always talk this much, so don't worry. I will talk a little less and a little less throughout the class. But my biggest tip for yin yoga practices are to just close the eyes for most, if not the entire practice. And to just think about the breath. Focus on the breath. And you can definitely just notice all the sensations you might be feeling throughout the body with each pose that we do come into. And just soften those areas of the body where you are feeling the love. And just allow your breath to help you soften. To keep your mind present. And to keep any thoughts that might want to come into your mind off to the side. We will stay here just a little bit longer. If you do need to make any adjustments, maybe move your legs or take another nice big breath in and out to relax the shoulders a little more. Maybe you need to come off of the pillow that you're laying on. Or maybe you are feeling awesome and you're going to stay exactly as you are. We're all just feeling the breath, letting go of our day. Finding some stillness. Awesome job, you guys. Slowly start to just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes a little bit. We'll just be bringing our knees together and our feet to the floor, but moving nice and slow. If you do happen to be laying on something, I'm just going to get you to sit up a little bit or roll to the side a little bit, just so you can take that thing out from under you, moving it off to the side, and then we're going to lay down again so the spine can find some length. You can walk your feet a little closer in towards your hips, maybe even lift the heels off of the mat, encouraging your tailbone into the ground beneath you. And just take a moment here. Notice how your body is feeling so far. Maybe adding a little rock of the knees side to side. Just a gentle massage for the low back. Awesome work, you guys. We're going to be pulling our right knee in towards our chest. So you can grab onto that right knee. You can keep the left leg bent if you'd like. You can rest your heel back down if you want. Or you can send that left leg out nice and long. But we're going to give that right knee the biggest hug that you can give it. So putting some effort into giving that knee a nice big hug. And then relax your ankles, maybe even wiggle the toes a little bit. Relax the feet. And then maybe you can think about your tailbone, your low back for a moment. Encourage it into the ground. Squeezing that knee a little bit tighter. Nice job, you guys. Just here for another moment or two. Maybe you can feel some love through your hip flexor. This is really good for our digestion. Take a nice big inhale, squeeze your knee. Exhale, squeeze it harder. Take one more inhale. And as you exhale, let go of that right knee. Let your foot find the floor. And then let's bring the left one in. Giving it a nice big hug. Option to straighten the right leg or keep it bent. Hug that right knee. And if you're lucky, you're going to feel a little love through your hip flexor. Encouraging your low back into the ground. Rest your shoulders. Only thing really working here, putting any effort in, are your arms to hug your knee in nice and tight. Awesome, you guys. Relaxing your ankles here. Maybe wiggle the toes. Close your eyes. Just feel. Nicely done, you guys. Let's take a nice big breath in here. And as you exhale, squeeze that knee. Taking another inhale. And as you exhale, let go of your leg. Let that foot come back down to the floor. You can walk that right foot back in as well. Maybe bringing the feet a little closer to the hips so that you can encourage your low back into the ground. Taking a moment. Either being nice and still and noticing the sensations running through your body so far, or you could add that little rock side to side with your knees, massaging your low back. Awesome, you guys. When you're feeling ready, we're just going to be coming all the way over onto our hands and onto our knees. So you can rock forwards, you can roll to the side, whatever you gotta do to come up and make your way onto your hands and onto your knees. Into tabletop. So let's just take a moment here to bring the knees right underneath your hips. If you're still feeling a little love through those hip flexors, you might want to just rock the hip side to side a little bit. We're going to come into a puppy dog and a shoulder stretch. So you're going to reach your arms out nice and far. So keep those hips lifted right up above those knees. Reach the arms out as far as you can, finding some length through those arms. And then we're just going to drop the forehead and drop the chest down towards the floor. If your forehead does not want to touch down, you could grab your pillow or maybe a block if you've got it and just rest your forehead on it. And if your forehead touches down, no problem. Think about next bringing the chest down towards the floor or the chest down towards your pillow. And just kind of letting gravity take your heart, take your chest down towards the ground. And relaxing through the shoulders. Maybe you're able to close your eyes here and just feel breath. Nicely done, you guys. We're going to take just a couple more moments here, but this is a really awesome pose to pay attention to your body and what your shoulders think. If you need to come back up and take a moment, you could lift your chest back up, maybe even walking your hands back in. You can always come back into the pose, or you can say, hey, I've had enough today. I'm just going to take a few moments sitting on my heels or in child's pose and just respect and be happy with where your body is at today. Nice work, you guys. We're just going to use an inhale to lift back up. Walking your hands back in towards you. I'm going to bring my knees together and just sit back on my heels. We're going to come into child's pose, but you could bring your knees out wide if you would like. You might also want to grab your pillow because we're going to bring our forehead down towards the mat, which might be a little trickier to do if your knees are together. But just rest your arms at your sides with your palms facing up. A little counter pose for that nice shoulder opener. And just letting your head rest on something, if it's your mats or your pillow or a block of some kind. Just relaxing through the shoulders. Nice work, you guys. When you're ready, just use an inhale. Start to lift your upper body back up. If you had a pillow for your head, you can scooch it off to the side. We're going to have a seat so you can bring your legs out in front. So I'm going to grab my strap. If you've got one, we're going to lengthen the back of the legs. So just bringing your legs out in front. And if you've got a strap, you're going to put it right under your toes on the ball of those feet. And this strap just allows your arms to be nice and long. You could be using a tie or belt, anything at all. But I want you just to take a nice big inhale here. Lengthen your spine as you just gently encourage your toes towards the ceiling. You might start to feel a stretch through your legs. You might even have a nice bend in your knees if you've got nice tight hamstrings. I want you to start with a nice long spine, so just kind of play with where you need your legs to be bent straight, somewhere in between, to sit nice and tall. Awesome, you guys. And you might stay here. You're feeling the love through those hamstrings, through those calves, all the way through the back of those legs. You can stay sitting nice and tall. If you have some room to move, to tip forwards in this, you can start to tip forwards a little bit. You can keep your spine nice and long. Any discomfort through that low back, lengthen that spine. Keep that chest proud. So only go as far as that low back wants you to go. And once you're feeling something, you're like, hey, I got this. I'm feeling that stretch through my legs. You're just going to close your eyes if you haven't already. You're going to find your breath. You're just going to let your chest get a little heavier and a little heavier. Again, if the low back allows you, if it likes it. If you don't have a strap, or maybe you don't need a strap, your hands are just reaching those feet all on their own. Just rest your arms wherever they want to be. Nice forward fold. And as you start to settle in here, and if you have some space between your knees and your chest, you might have a pillow that you could rest in between to get a little comfy. And it might take some weight out of that upper body, be nice for that low back. Or maybe it stops you from going a little further. I want you to stay as you are for another 3 breaths, unless you need to move. Listen to your body here. Awesome work, you guys. Using an inhale. If you're still tipping forward, slowly lift your upper body all the way back up. Sit nice and tall, nice long spine. So good. If you've got a strap, you can move it off to the side. We're just gonna start to bend our knees a little more. We're gonna roll ourselves all the way down onto our backs. Roll on down, lay on down. Walk your feet in towards your hips. Maybe do a little rock side to side to massage your low back. Might feel better to even pull the knees in towards the chest and add a little rock side to side. Just think about massaging that low back. And I just want to say, awesome work, you guys. That went by really fast for me. You might feel differently. But as you do more and more yin or just yoga in general, you just learn to kind of tune into the breath and to the stretches and the poses. The time just flies by. Awesome work, you guys. So when you're feeling good, you can start to bring your feet back down towards the floor. And you can walk your feet out to the edges of your mat. I'm actually going to grab my pillow and just rest it under my knees. Keeping the knees bent here with a little support under the legs feels pretty good on the low back after all those poses. So bring your feet out wide. Rest your arms at your sides, flip your palms to face up. Or it might even feel better to lay on your side. I just want you to give yourself the opportunity to spend a few moments in Shavasana. Just allowing your entire body to be still. Notice the sensations running all through it. And as always, I encourage you guys to stay here for as long as you have time for today. I hope that you enjoyed the practice, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to see you again tomorrow. Namaste.